you are getting way, 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 way too much sodium. So you have to pay attention to the sodium content on nutrition labels. And you probably don't even have to worry about getting enough sodium. What you have to worry about is getting too much. Here are some of the parameters. 1 teaspoon of salt contains 2 grams of sodium. 2 grams is 2,000 milligrams. And you should never, ever eat more than 1,500 milligrams in an entire day. So that's less than 1 teaspoon in an entire day. So you want the sodium content of most of your nutrition labels to be on the order of about 100 milligrams or less per serving. And that is still a lot of sodium. But the problem is that if you look at, let's say a can of soup, because soup has a lot of sodium in it. If you look at a can of soup, it might say organic, it might say healthy, it might say all kinds of things. The FDA says that a food cannot be called healthy if it has more than 480 grams of sodium per serving. But if you look at the serving size on a can of soup, it's usually 2 servings. But most people eat the whole can. So the whole can will probably contain 780 grams of sodium. So these are little nuances that make a huge difference in your ability to use this information. Okay, now we go to the carbohydrate section. There are a lot of different kinds of carbohydrates, but basically it's divided on a nutrition label into 2 categories. It's fiber and sugar. The fiber is good, the sugar is bad. You want a lot of fiber and you only want a little sugar. So we're going to discuss these separately and then together. Fiber first. A food is high in fiber if it contains at least 5 grams of fiber per serving. And as a menopausal woman, you need more than 25 grams of fiber per day. If you eat an animal-based diet, you definitely don't get that. And the rule of thumb for the percent daily value for fiber is 5% of your daily calories as fiber per day is very low, 20% of your daily calories is moderate, 40% of your daily calories is desirable. Now you already know that all the fruits, vegetables, and whole grains are high in fiber, and I hope you know that animal products contain absolutely no fiber. So things like kale, whole grain oatmeal, those are high fiber foods. Now let's talk about the sugars. That's the other component of carbohydrates. There are different kinds of sugars, and we typically divide them into 2 categories, simple and complex. The simple sugars are the natural sugars, the kind that already comes in food that is not prepared, like fruits and vegetables. Complex sugars are added sugars. Simple sugars will not be listed as the ingredients because they are part of the food as it occurs in nature. That's part of the problem. So you won't see the simple sugars, but you can eat as many naturally occurring sugars as you want. They are not harmful. You won't even be able to quantify them because no label is going to give you that information. But the other kind of sugar is added sugars, and these are not naturally occurring sugars. Now, there's a special suffix for sugar, and it's OSE, ose. So all the words for sugar will end in ose. So you have fructose, dextrose, maltodextrose, sucralose, maltose. They're all added sugars. The basic rule is to avoid buying any product with any kind of sugar listed as the first ingredient. But manufacturers have found a way to fool you on this. Since the first ingredient has to be the main ingredient and they don't want you to know how much sugar there is, what they do is they split up the different kinds of sugars so that they can list each of them separately. So instead of sugar as the first ingredient, you'll see something like oats, dextrose, high fructose corn syrup, canned crystals, brown rice syrup, corn sweetener, malt syrup, palm sugar, invert sugar. Everything in that list except the first ingredient was sugar. So you have to be very careful with this. Read all the ingredients. A donut contains about 12 grams of sugar. So here's how you assess the carbohydrate content of any food. I call this the carb to fiber 5-to-1 rule. What you do is you look at a nutrition label. First, look at the number of grams of total carbohydrate. Then, look at the number of grams of fiber. Divide the total carbohydrate by the fiber. If the number is 5 or less, buy it. If the number is more than 5, put it back on the shelf. You see, the goal is for the fiber to dominate the grams of carbohydrate. You want a lot of fiber and you want very little sugar. So just pay attention to that. If you do that, you'll be in great shape. Now, the last thing is protein. And protein, it's not a matter of getting enough. It's a matter of getting too much, and that's dependent on the source. Most people think you have to eat animal products to get protein, but you don't. Vegetables have plenty of protein. Whether you eat green leafy vegetables or lentils and beans, vegetables contain plenty of protein. But, of course, vegetables don't list their ingredients on a nutrition label. There isn't a designated gram requirement for protein. So you have to think in terms of the protein you're getting in both plants and animals. If you walk around a grocery store comparing these things, it will absolutely shock you. And just below the protein, you'll find the vitamins and minerals, which will vary greatly by product. Only the vitamins and minerals in that product will be listed. And the value given is the percentage of what's needed daily for a 2,000 calorie per day diet. But it doesn't give you the quantity of the vitamin or mineral in milligrams there. And the last thing to notice on a nutrition label is the percent daily values, which appears in 2 locations actually. And it's usually down at the bottom as well as off to the right side. What it does is it converts the quantities of each item into percentages of that item for comprising a 2,000 calorie per day diet. And basically it just helps you determine if a single serving of the food is high or low in a particular type of nutrient. The general rule is that 5% is low and 20% is high for any given category. So for the nutrients you need more of, 5% will be on the low side. And for the nutrients you need to limit, 5% is okay. On the other hand, for nutrients you need more of, 20% is good. And for nutrients you need to limit, 20% is on the high side. And of course, remember about the stuff with regard to eating more than one serving size because, you have to adjust those percentages accordingly. So you might see a white banner at the bottom of a nutrition label with an asterisk. And basically what it is this percent daily values again. So when you see the bottom of that nutrition label, that's what that is. And that will only be on larger packages where there's plenty of room for it. So those are your basics. That's like your basic primer for nutrition labels. If you are a visual person, I invite you to go to my YouTube channel and watch this as a video because it's very, very highlighted and color-coded and a lot easier to see what you need to relate to on a nutrition package. But I like to have these broadcasts for you also because some people are very auditory and hearing it is better for them. And so if that's you, then I hope this served you well. I invite you to go to my website, which is menopausetailor.me. What you're going to find there is a bunch of great stuff, including my YouTube videos, which come out every week. You'll see my book, of which the 2nd edition just came out. You'll see I have webinars for the entire menopause education. I write articles on all of this stuff, and you'll find that I do one-on-one consultations. And if you need me to do anything for you and personalize and tailor information for you on anything at all, just schedule a one-on-one at menopausetailor.me. I'm going to sign off for now. I thank you for listening, and next time you look at a nutrition label, think of me. I'll talk to you later. Bye.